Welcome to the Green Ledger, Tips for a Sustainable Small Business, your guide to building a profitable and sustainable small business. This is a show where making money meets making a difference. I'm Anka, your host. In each episode, I explore how resilience fuels business growth and success by applying strategies and tools that big companies use, but making them super practical for your business. Today's topic may not be on your priority list, but it is a vital entry in your green ledger. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back. Today's episode is digital door locks, keeping your business safe online. We're talking about something that might not seem like a sustainability issue at first, but trust me, it absolutely is. Let me start with a story. Last year, I was talking with a small food manufacturer, Clara. She was saying to me, "We're too small for hackers to care about us. What would they want to do with our hot sauce recipes?" Well, one Tuesday morning, she walked into her office to find her computer screen frozen with a message demanding $5,000 in Bitcoin to unlock her files. All of them. Customer orders, supplier contacts, even her proprietary recipes. Everything was encrypted. The hackers didn't care that she was small. In fact, that's exactly why they targeted her. My husband works in IT, and I've watched him deal with similar situations too many times. I've seen the phone calls from panicked business owners, the stress of trying to recover systems under pressure, and the heartbreak when businesses lose weeks or months of work because they were not prepared. Cyber threats cut across all of the areas. They're not just an IT problem, they're a business resilience problem. When Clara's systems were locked, she couldn't fulfill orders, couldn't communicate with customers, and definitely couldn't maintain the trust she'd built with her stakeholders. So today, we're talking about digital door locks. Think of this as installing security systems for your business data and online operations. Because if we're going to build sustainable, resilient businesses, we need to protect them in the digital world too. Before we dive in, let me tell you what we're going to cover in the next 20 minutes. First, we'll bust some dangerous myths about why small businesses get targeted by hackers. Then, we'll walk through 6 main cyber threats you need to know about, explained in plain language with examples from businesses just like yours. Next, I'll give you 5 essential digital door locks you can implement even without a dedicated IT team. These are practical steps that won't overwhelm you or your budget. We'll also talk about how cybersecurity fits into the business continuity planning we discussed in episode 2, and I'll give you a simple 30, 60, 90 day plan to get started. Finally, I'll share some immediate action steps you can take this week, plus common pitfalls to avoid. By the end of the episode, you'll have a clear roadmap for protecting your business in the digital world. Let's start by busting this myth. We're too small to be targeted. Here's the reality. 43% of cyber attacks target small businesses, not large corporations, small businesses. Why? Because the big companies already have security teams and protocols in place. There are 3 main reasons why small businesses are targeted. First, you're often easier targets. Large companies have entire IT departments and million-dollar security budgets. You probably don't. Hackers know this, and they go for the path of the least resistance. Some attacks could be prevented by basic protocol policies that would take 10 minutes to implement. Second, you're connected to larger supply chains. Maybe you provide ingredients to a big restaurant chain, or you manufacture components for a larger company. Hackers use a small business as a backdoor to get to these bigger targets. This happens a lot. A small supplier gets compromised, and suddenly the hackers have access to a major corporation systems. And third, you handle valuable data, but have fewer resources to protect it. Your customer lists, payment information, proprietary recipes, or manufacturing processes. These are all worth money to the right criminal. So, what does a cyber attack actually cost? And I'm not talking just about a ransom payment, I'm talking about the real business impact. Let's say you run a bakery and your point of sale system gets hacked. You lose a week of transaction data right before your busy holiday season. Customers start seeing suspicious charges on their credit cards after shopping with you. Not only do you lose immediate revenue from downtime, but you lose something harder to rebuild: customer trust and loyalty. Or imagine you're a small manufacturer and your production planning software gets locked by ransomware. Your entire production line stops. You can't fulfill orders. You're scrambling to communicate with customers and suppliers while trying to figure out how to get back online. The operational continuity we talked about in our business continuity episode, gone. And here's something many small business owners don't think about: compliance issues. If you handle customer payment data and it gets breached, you could face regulatory penalties on top of everything else. The financial stability you've worked so hard to build can disappear quickly. Remember in episode 3 when we talked about that heat risk map? Cyber risks are typically high impact, medium likelihood events. They belong in your red zone, the area that needs immediate attention. And they absolutely should be integrated into the business continuity plan we discussed in episode 2. Alright, let's break down the main threats you need to know about. First up, phishing emails. These are fake emails designed to trick your employees into giving away passwords or clicking malicious links. They've gotten really sophisticated. These are by far the most common way businesses get compromised. Here's an example. Your office manager gets an email that looks like it's from your ingredient supplier. The logo looks right, the email address seems close enough. It says, "We're updating our systems. Please click here to verify your account details." Your manager clicks, enters the login information for your supplier portal, and boom! Hackers now have access to your orders, pricing, maybe even your payment information. The second is ransomware. This is what happened to Clara in my opening story. Malicious software locks all your files until you pay a ransom. Imagine your bakery's point of sale system, inventory management, and customer database all frozen on your busiest weekend. You can't process sale, you don't know what inventory you have, and you can't contact customers to explain what's happening. Third is data breaches. This is when sensitive information gets stolen. Customer credit card details, proprietary recipes, or supplier contracts. For a food business, this might mean customer health records if you cater to people with allergies. For a manufacturer, it could be your CAT files or customer lists. Fourth is third-party or supply chain risk. Remember in episode 3 when we talked about supply chain dependencies? Well, this is a digital version. Your business gets impacted because a supplier or software vendor gets hacked. Maybe you use cloud-based inventory software that gets compromised, and suddenly you lose access to all your production data. Fifth is human error. This is also a very common cause of security problems. Weak passwords, unsecured Wi-Fi, no backups, or employees accidentally sharing sensitive information. Your production manager uses password 123 for both their personal Facebook or Instagram account and your business systems. When their personal account gets hacked, guess what happens next? And sixth, insider threats and employee access issues. Sometimes the threat comes from the inside your own business. This could be a disgruntled employee who deletes important files before they quit, or someone who intentionally shares sensitive information with competitors, or maybe you forgot to remove system access when someone left, and months later you discover they still have login credentials to your inventory system. Okay, enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about what you can actually do about this. I'm going to give you 5 essential steps that even businesses without dedicated IT teams can implement. Think of this as installing basic security systems. You don't need to become a cybersecurity expert overnight. Okay, first one is educate your team. Build your human firewall. Your employees are your first line of defense, but they're also your biggest vulnerability. Most cyber attacks succeed because they trick people, not because they break through fancy technical defenses. Here's the good news. Basic security awareness doesn't require expensive training programs. Start with monthly 10-minute team discussions. Show them examples of current scams. Talk about how to recognize phishing emails, things like urgent language requests for personal information or links that don't match the supposed sender. Make it relevant to your business. If you're in food manufacturing, show them what a fake email from a supplier might look like. If you're in retail, discuss how scammers might impersonate your point-of-sale software provider. And create a culture where people feel safe reporting suspicious emails or potential problems. Your team should know the saying, "This email looks weird," is always better than clicking first and asking questions later. Your action step for this week? Share one recent phishing example with your team. There are tons of them on cybersecurity websites. Make it a 5-minute conversation during your next team meeting. 2 is strengthen passwords and access control. I know, everyone talks about passwords, but here's why it matters. Weak passwords are like leaving your front door unlocked and posting a sign that says, "Valuables inside." First, use a password manager. These tools generate strong, unique passwords for every account and remember them for you. Popular options include LastPass or 1Password. Yes, they cost a little money, but they're cheaper than a cyber attack. Second, enable multi-factor authentication, MFA, wherever possible. This is like having both a key and a security code to enter your building. Even if someone steals your password, they can get in without the second factor, usually a code on your authenticator app or sent to your phone. Start with your most critical accounts, business email, banking, your main supplier portals, and any cloud storage you use. Third, limit access. Not everyone needs access to everything. Your part-time packaging employee probably doesn't need access to financial information. Your bookkeeper probably doesn't need access to production planning software. Give people access only to what they need to do their job. Your action step for this week? Enable multi-factor authentication on your business email and one financial account. Most systems make it really easy. It usually takes less than 5 minutes. Okay, next step 3 is to back up your data religiously. Here's a simple rule. If you can't afford to lose it, you better have at least 3 copies of it. The best practice is called the 3-to-1 rule. 3 copies of important data stored on 2 different types of media with 1 copy stored off-site. In practical terms, this might mean your original files on your computer, an automatic backup to an external drive, and another automatic backup to cloud storage like Google Drive or Dropbox. Set up automated daily or weekly backups, and this is crucial, test them regularly. A backup you can't restore is worthless. Once a month, pick a random file and make sure you can actually get back from your backup. I can tell you how many times my husband has seen businesses discover their backups weren't working when they needed them. Remember in episode 2 when we talked about business continuity planning? Backups are your digital insurance policy. If ransomware locks your files, good backups mean you can restore everything and keep running without paying the ransom. Your action step for this week? Test one backup restore. Pick a file, pretend it's been deleted, and see if you can get it back from your backup system. Okay, the 4th step is keep software updated and secure. Software updates often include security fixes for vulnerabilities that hackers know about. Enable automatic updates whenever possible on your computers, phones, your business software. Yes, sometimes updates can be annoying, but running outdated software is like leaving Windows open in a thunderstorm. Also, secure your Wi-Fi network. Change the default password on your router, use WPA3 encryption if available, and consider having a separate guest network for visitors. You'd be surprised how many businesses are still using default passwords on their networking equipment. Your action step for this week is to set up automatic updates on your 3 most critical business systems. If you're not sure how, ask someone tech savvy on your team or call your IT support or ask me to see if my husband can help. Number 5 is to create a cyber incident response plan. Just like the business continuity plan we discussed in episode 2, we need a simple plan for what to do if something goes wrong. This should include 3 things: who to call, how to communicate, and how to restore operations. Who to call? Do you have IT support? Have this contact ready and accessible, not just stored on a computer that might be locked. How to communicate? Have templates ready for notifying customers, suppliers, and employees. In a crisis, you don't want to waste time figuring out what to say and how to say it professionally. And how to restore operations? Document your backup procedures, list alternative systems you could use temporarily, and identify which functions are most critical to keep running. Your action step for this week: make copies of this plan and keep them offline, printed on paper and stored somewhere accessible. When your computers are locked, your digital plan isn't much help. Let's talk about warning signs that something might be wrong. These are things you or your team should watch for. Computers running slower than usual, especially if multiple machines are affected. Unusual network activity. Maybe your internet seems slower or your data usage has spiked. Employees receiving more suspicious emails than normal. Unexpected software installations or changes to computer settings. Account lockouts or password reset requests that no one initiated. If you notice any of this, don't panic, but take them seriously. Disconnect affected computers from their network, change relevant passwords, and contact your IT support. Quick action can often prevent a small problem from becoming a big disaster. Now, let's make this manageable with a simple timeline. In the next 30 days, do a password audit. Change any weak or shared passwords. Enable multi-factor authentication on critical accounts. Have a basic team awareness session about phishing emails. In the next 60 days, test your backup systems thoroughly. Have conversations with your key vendors about their security practices. Draft a simple cyber incident response plan. In the next 90 days, conduct a full security review. Consider more advanced training for your team. The key is to start somewhere and build from there. You don't have to do everything at once. Perfect security doesn't exist, but better security is always possible. Okay, you may be thinking, Anka, I wish there was a list of what I can do right now. You gave me a few actions for this week and then a 30, 60, 90 day guidance, but do you have something comprehensive that I can do now? Glad you asked. I actually do. Here's your do this week checklist. First, identify your 3 most sensitive digital tools. This might be your point of sale system, your business email, and your main supplier portal. These are your highest priorities for security. Second, confirm you have backups and know how to access them. Don't just assume they're working. Actually, test one file restore. Third, choose one team member to be your cybersecurity champion. This person doesn't need to be a tech expert, just someone who can help keep security top of mind and remind people about best practices. Fourth, enable multi-factor authentication on one critical business account. Start with your business email if you hadn't already. And fifth, Have a 10-minute team discussion about recognizing phishing emails. Show them a real example and talk about red flags to watch for. None of this should take more than 30 minutes, but together they'll significantly improve your security posture. Before we wrap up, let me warn you about some common mistakes small businesses make. First, don't overcomplicate this. You don't need to become a cybersecurity expert overnight. Start with basics and build from there. Second, avoid all or nothing thinking. Perfect security doesn't exist, but good enough security absolutely does. The goal is to make yourself a harder target. Third, don't forget about mobile devices. Your business phones and tablets are computers too. They need the same security attention as your desktop computers. And finally, don't ignore the human element. Technology is only as secure as the people using it. Okay, let me recap what we covered today. I know it was a lot of information. We started by busting the myth that small businesses are too small to be targeted. In fact, 43% of cyber attacks target businesses just like yours. We walked through the 6 main cyber threats: phishing emails, ransomware, data breaches, third-party risks, human error, and insider threats. Then I gave you 5 essential digital door locks: educating your team, strengthening passwords and access control, backing up your data religiously, keeping software updated, and creating a cyber incident response plan. We talked about how cybersecurity fits into your business continuity planning, and I shared a 30, 60, 90 day timeline to make this manageable. Finally, I gave you 5 specific action steps you can take this week. Here's my call to action for you. Don't let this episode just be information you consumed. Pick one action item from today's list and commit to getting it done in the next 2 days. Maybe it's enabling multi-factor authentication on your business email. Maybe it's having that 10-minute conversation with your team about phishing emails. Or maybe it's testing one backup restore. And if you want all of this organized in one place, reach out to me for a free cybersecurity starter checklist. I'll walk you through everything we discussed today in a simple, step-by-step guide that you can use to track your progress. The point is to start somewhere. Remember Clara and her hot sauce company from the beginning? She rebuilt stronger. She implemented many of the practices we talked about today. When a smaller cyber incident happened months later, a phishing email that one of the employees almost fell for, her team caught it, reported it, and nothing happened because they were prepared. That's what I want for your business. Not just survival, but strength. Not just protection, but confidence. Now, speaking of trust and protection, there is another area where your business depends on others to help you succeed: your suppliers and vendors. And that brings us perfectly to our next episode. Next time, we're diving into supplier relationships and vendor management. In episode 6, are your suppliers helping or hurting you? Your business depends on other businesses. Are they reliable? Are they helping you achieve your goals, or are they creating risks you don't even know about? We'll explore how to use a simple supplier scorecard to assess risks, strengthen partnerships, and make sure your vendors support your values and resilience goals. Because just like cybersecurity, your business is only as strong as your weakest link, and sometimes that link is a supplier you trust but haven't properly evaluated. Until then, pick one cybersecurity action item from today's list and get it done in 2 days. Small steps lead to big impact, and resilience isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the Green Ledger Tips for a Sustainable Small Business. I'm Anka, and I hope you'll mark today's topic in your Green Ledger and let it inspire fresh ideas to make your business sustainable. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and share the podcast with other small business owners who want to build a profitable and resilient business. I love growing this community of like-minded, forward-thinking, responsible small business owners. If you want to be notified when I post on my blog or create a free tool, please sign up to my blog. I'll share details in the show notes. Also, if you want to connect with me directly, I put my contact info in the show notes as well. I love to hear from you. That's it for today. Join me next time for more practical tips to help your business thrive. Until then, stay resilient, stay prepared.